Welcome to another Black History Month tribute. Take a journey with me back to 1896 to my hometown of Miami, Florida. Let me introduce you to the early players. First, we have Julia Tuttle from Ohio. She purchased a piece of property here and moved to South Florida in 1891. Next, we have Henry Flagler, also from Ohio. He was part of the original Standard Oil, which is now ExxonMobil, BP, and Chevron. At the time, he lived in St. Augustine, Florida. Lastly, we have William Brickell, who moved to South Florida in 1871 from, you guessed it, Ohio. And he purchased a large tract of land from Coconut Grove to Miami River. This was right after our country suffered through two horrific winters called the Great Freeze. The entire nation was frozen and ruined crops all over the nation except for Miami. So this lady went up to St. Augustine, Florida with orange and citrus blossoms to show this guy that crops survive in this region of South Florida. Then she convinced this guy to extend his railroad to the southeast region of Florida for people looking to take the passage and escape the harsh winters. So this guy took his large tract of land, and this guy brought his oil money, and they began to develop Miami. And this is where we come in. There are about 400 Bahamians already settled in the Coconut Grove area. They were actually brought over to build and staff the first hotel in Miami, which was called the Peacock Inn, which opened in 1882. In 1896, Miami became a city. City planners and developers needed laborers to help build the city of Miami, so they used the nearby Caribbean islands of Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad, and Barbados, but mainly Bahamas as their stealing and recruiting ground. Once here, these laborers were forced to live in the middle of the city, which they called Colored Town, which is now Overtown near downtown Miami. Let's fast forward 40 years to 1935. With the influx of the Caribbean immigrants, the population for the blacks in Miami had grown to 25,000. Most of these resided in the area which was now called the slums. In these so-called slums lived the city's laborers, janitors, porters, chauffeurs, truck drivers, City of Miami sewer and sanitation workers, maids, cooks, and dressmakers. The housing conditions of these homes owned by the whites and rented by the blacks barely had running water coming in, no sewage going out, and absolutely no electricity. Meanwhile, the rest of the city was lit, literally, since the city of Miami had electricity since 1904. And here comes the project. These so-called slums was located underneath which is now a Midtown Highway Exchange. As the population grew full of newcomers seeking year-round farming, opportunity, and sunshine, so that the need to expand the city boundaries. The area in question was in the northwest section of town, which previously was far enough from the Brickells, Tuttles, and the Flagler's investment, ventures, and business district. However, now they needed this land.